So tonight, like I said yesterday, we're going to start in chapter 1. So please read chapters 1, 2, and 7 for this week. Please make sure you're reading chapters 1, 2, and 7 for this week. And tonight we're going to talk about our career planning. Yesterday I introduced this idea of setting your career plan, right? Nobody is successful in their career without having some type of plan. Sure, you can start your career, but where your career goes is going to be dependent upon how you lay out your plan. Does that make sense? I don't think any of us, you know, are going to graduate and we're going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to be successful. I'm just going to take this diploma I have and I'm just going to go find me a job and life is going to be great. I think many of us have been on the planet long enough to know it takes a little bit more than that, right? So before we get into that, let me ask, do we have any questions from yesterday? Is everyone okay with yesterday? Everything was cool. I think I saw everybody but one person um, was able to submit. So, Jelena, were you here yesterday? I'm not sure if I saw you yesterday. Were you here yesterday? Can you give me a quick thumbs up? Just want to know how much I need to go over. Am I pronouncing your name right? Is it Jelena? Jelena? I don't want to mess that up.
Yeah, she wasn't here yesterday.
He wasn't, right? Okay, so I'll just go over a little bit. The main thing is to know is you have to, once we finish this session and I give you your participation question, please, before 10 o'clock p.m., you must do that participation question in order to receive attendance. Coming to the live session will not get you attendance. You have to do that. You have to post the answer to that question in order for attendance. So I just want to make sure we all understand to do that. Um, you also have to ensure that you do your online pledge in order to even get access to the materials. So if you have any questions on how to do that, please reach out to me. I do submit announcements a few times a week. It goes straight to your email. My cell phone number is at the bottom of those emails, so you can feel free to text me, call me, whatever you need to do if you have any questions. All right? Sounds good? All right, so let's get into it. So, like I was saying, when it comes to planning, I don't think there's anybody here that has not at some point done a financial plan. Even if you only do it for the month, right? You're like, okay, how much money do I have? How much do I need to spend? What am I trying to accomplish? Some of us are even aggressive enough to do it for 3 months. Some of us are even more aggressive and we do it for the year. Let me ask, who plans out their budget for the year? Anybody? Okay. I was holding my breath. I'm like, please, Lord, don't let me be the only one that does that. Now, listen, I'm going to take it a step further. Isaac, I plan mine out. I forecast for 10 years in advance my financial goals. I have it on a spreadsheet. I promise you not. Now, full disclaimer, I have an MBA in finance and I've been working in finance for a lot of years. So maybe that's why I do it. I'm like, when I was doing it for the businesses, I was like, let me do this for myself, right? And it does work because sometimes when you can see numbers on paper and if anybody does writes down their budget, I don't know, it just becomes more real and it makes you more accountable. Would you agree that when if you write your budget down, does it make you more accountable? Anybody write their budget down, whether you do it for a month, it kind of makes you accountable to yourself, right? You're like, okay, I said I can only put this much in this amount, so let me do that, right? Because then if you don't do it, right, 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, if your finances are not looking the way that you planned, then you can at least go back to what you had written down and say, okay, where did I go wrong, right? Especially if you're tracking it. I track my budget in an Excel spreadsheet so I can do my budget versus actual. What did I do? What is it that I wanted to do? And it helps me be accountable. Now, we may not have that same, thought process when it comes to our career, but I'll have you know that most people that are serious about their future plans in their career, they also write it down, and it is for the same purpose, is to help you be accountable to yourself regarding your career. You need a career plan, right? In order to have a successful career, you need some type of plan. So, if I were getting my wanting to become a doctor, I just can't say, I just want to be a doctor when I grow up because I want to help people. Sure, I can go to college and I can go to medical school. And you know what's going to happen when I get there? They're going to say, um, what type of doctor do you do you want to be? And I'm gonna say, the kind that helps people. And we're like, girl, get serious. What type of doctor do you want to be? Do you want to be a pediatrician? Do you want to be a brain surgeon? Do you want to be a family practitioner, a gynecologist, oncologist? What do you want to be? Right? I have to narrow that thing down. And then watch this. Even on top of that, even if I say I want to be a neurosurgeon, I still need to decide, what do I want to work on adults? Do I want to work on children? Do I want to work on babies? What do I want to do? I still need to figure out, do I want to work abroad? Do I maybe want to work in developing countries with children that have limited access to health care? Do I want to work in a metropolitan city? What is it that I'm trying to do? Am I trying to cure something? Am I trying to go help, you know, with some type of technology that helps in that field? Like, I still need to figure out what I want to do with my career. I cannot just say, I want to help people. That's not a plan, is it? That's a nice aspiration. So you getting your, does that make sense? You getting your degree is not a career plan. You have to figure out, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Do you want to start your own business? Do you want to be what we call an intrapreneur? That means someone that works their way up to the top in corporate America. Do you want to be part of a pet hospital if you're in the VA program? Do you want to specialize in infectious diseases with large animals, reptiles? Like, what is it that you're trying to do? You have to think that through, because guess what? Just like the slide says, career preparation is going to vary from person to person. Yes, many of you may be in the same program, but you don't have the same aspirations. You don't even come in the program with the same background. So, if you don't know what you want to do, there are a lot of different pathways that you can take. That means you have to do your research on your industry. You need to know what is going on in your field. What is happening in the HVAC field? What is happening in electrical? Are you guys all in the same program? Let me ask that question so I'll know how to to frame out my examples. Are you guys okay? And what is that? Electrical, welding, HVAC? What are you in?
Electrical.
Okay, very good. So I'll stick with electrical. No need to talk about pets. So, sticking with electrical, maybe you decide you want to become a master electrician and own your own business one day. Anybody wants to become a master electrician and own their own business one day? Did I just read your thoughts? Okay, I have two, three, there, four. Oh my goodness, you all should go into business together. There you go. Right. So at least four out of eight, or however many people are in here, wants to become master electricians and own their own business. You need to figure out, well, who's your competition. You want to start your own business. What other companies are, in your area? Have you decided whether you want to stay regional? Are you trying to stay local? Do you want to go national? Are you trying to go southeast region? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about how much money you want to make in your business? You trying to be a millionaire or a thousandaire? Are you trying to make 100 million? Or are you trying to make 2 million? Have you thought about that? You trying to have a 50-person employees, or you trying to have two? Is it a family business, or are you trying to go corporation? Go down that lane. You need to think those things through. Now, good thing is you don't have to think it through all right now, because Your planning has increments, and we're going to talk about how you plan incrementally, but you need to think about what it is you are trying to accomplish in your field. If you don't know, my friends, you need to do research. If you are trying to start your own business, like I was about to say, you need to know who your competitors are. Are you trying to do residential? You're trying to do commercial? You're trying to do contracts with the government? What are we doing? Maybe trying to do a little bit of both. You got to see what's out there. Have you thought about your field in terms of saturation? Everybody knows in electrical, anything to do with electrical and HVAC in Florida, yes, is in high demand, but how many people are already in there? Are there any gaps in your area? Right? Um, do some research. You're going to have to do some of that research. On the screen, it talks about two different websites you can use, the Department of Labor, also the Occupational Informational Network. But guess what? I'm going to say just good old Chat GPT. You can go to Google, Gemini, any of those platforms, AI, Microsoft Copilot. And I really love AI. Yes, I'm in the AI arena, so I'm going to I'm going to push it because I know the positive sides of it. And I would do that. You can go to ChatGPT today or Copilot, and you can say, "My long-term goal is to become a master electrician and own my own business." Well, let me be even more specific. My long-term goal is to become a master electrician within 6 years and to own my own business within 10. Please map out a plan for me. Watch it go to work. It'll do it for you. That's what I love about the AIs, right? That's what they're designed to do, right? So maybe if you don't even have an idea, at least Chat GPT can start to give you some ideas because it'll start to lay out some steps for you that you hadn't even thought about. And please feel free to use it, with some of the things that we're going to ask you to do, because everything we're going to ask you to do outside of the book is based for you. So I don't care if you use Chat GPT to help you give you some answers. You're the one that has to tell it what to do. So it's still coming from you, right? It's not like you're cheating on a test. So I do encourage you to use those tools to help you think through what it is you're trying to do and to help you do some research on your industry. The worst thing that you can do, especially in business, is to start a business and there's already one to the left, the right, the front, and the back of you. You're not going to get any customers. You need to go where, the gaps are. So even if you decided that I want to become a master electrician, own my own business, and I want to work with residential, right? So what I would be doing, I would be doing some research and asking, AI, where is the scarcity in my general area? Like, where are the shortages of electricians in my area? Maybe you're in Tampa. I know you're not in Tampa. I know you're in Fort Myers area, but let's pretend you were in Tampa and they said, well, there's already a whole bunch of companies that do that in your area. Are you willing to move? Does it make sense for you to open up yet another business doing the exact same thing? Unless what? Unless you can then say, well, how do I differentiate my business from their business so maybe I can gain a competitive advantage? Does that make sense? Or are you willing to say, well, the research says that I need to, maybe go to Pensacola or maybe go to Central Florida area because there's some gaps. At least you can then, make a conscious decision, right? An educated decision as to where you start your business. Does it make sense to start a business if there's already an oversaturation in that area? These are the things that you need to think about. This is why it's so important to do your research. Make sense? So, what is your career plan essentially? It is a documentation, the same way you do your financial plan. It is a documentation where you identify what your long term goals are, and then you create these short term goal steps to help you get to your long term goal. So, if my first long term goal, and you will be creating two of those, um, for tomorrow, but we're talking about it tonight because you're going to be taking a self-assessment test, and the reason why you're taking that test is for your long-term goals. So you will be creating two long-term goals, and I'm going to use the one I just created, and feel free to use it. Like, I don't care if this is what you want to do, feel free to use it. We're doing this together. If I said that I wanted to become a master electrician within 6 years, that is my first long-term goal. My second long term goal is to start my own business after I secure my master electrician's license within 10 years. So from 6 years to 10 years, I want to start my first business. So by that 10th year, I will have had my master electrician license. Obviously, I'm working, and my short-term goals are going to help me figure out the type of work that I'm going to do, such that by year 10, I can start my own business. Now, we all know that starting a business is not going to make you successful. So what's going to happen? Once you hit that 10th year, then you're going to have to do what? Create another set of 10-year goals, which has to do primarily with growing the business. So the first 10 years could be starting the business. Now I'm saying 10, you could start a business obviously sooner than that. And then the next 10 years is going to be a 10-year plan for growing your business. You see how that goes? And then maybe the next 10 years after that could be, how do I expand? That's how business works. That's how your career works as well, right? If you weren't trying to own your own business, but maybe you wanted to be successful in the electrical field, you can't just say, I'm just going to be a really good electrician. Have we not learned anything from what's happening in the economy right now? I'm sure there are a lot of people that thought that they were just really good people and they lost their jobs. Why? Because the economy does not care whether you're really good at your job or not, does it? Businesses close every day. Corporations lay off people every day, whether you're really good or not. So you have to have a plan for your success, one that is not predicated by whether a company thinks you're really good at your job. What does that mean? That means that if I decide that I wanted to, let's say, go work for a major construction company, I'm going to say new building construction because I used to work in real estate, and I'm going to just work for Lennar, right? I've decided that I want to go work for Lennar because they're huge, they're everywhere, and I want to work my way to the top. I want to be an electrician now, but then I want to, be a project manager, and I want to be over like, how they make out those communities. I want to be a top, person that works with the project director and run those types of communities. You see what I'm doing? And then let's say I decide I want to work my way up into the corporate side of it. You can do it that way too. It doesn't always have to be you want to own your own business. But even in doing that, you still need to plan that out. Because maybe it's not Lennar, maybe it's D.R. Horton, maybe it's somebody else, maybe it's Taylor Morrison. Maybe your goal is just to work in new construction and work your way to the top. If that's the case, and you set out your plan and then you've decided, okay, for the first 3 years, I'm just going to work as an electrician, then I'm going to go back to school and get my first license, and then I want to become a project manager. If you are able to secure a job at Lennar, you work there for 3 years, and now you're looking around. Your next step on your plan is to become a project manager. And Lennar is not giving you that opportunity. Are you going to just stay at Lennar and be like, well, I love my boss? You're absolutely not going to do that because your plan says, because you have a plan, you're trying to work your way up to the top. If Lennar won't make you a project manager, guess what? Maybe Taylor Morrison will. You see how that works? So you're not dependent upon Lennar or any company. You're following your plan. So if it's time for you to go because your plan says, okay, it's time to go, you're supposed to be a project manager now, you're going to start looking for project manager jobs. The only way you're going to get to the top is if you climb. You can't wait for somebody else to open the door for you to let you up. Does that make sense? All career people do that. I am telling you, my friends, that is the way that you do it. There is no secret to success. As a matter of fact, if you look up the definition of success, it will tell you it is where we're preparation. You prepare yourself, and when the opportunity arrives, you take it. You are preparing yourself. You're in school. You're learning the skill set. You're going to go start that job. You're going to work there for 3 years, and you've done your research. And your research has told you that after 3 years, you can be a project manager. You're preparing yourself. Now it's time for you to become a project manager. Are you going to wait for Lennar to give you that opportunity? Absolutely not. Let me tell you something. I have a nickname in my career. They used to call me Show Me the Money. Y'all know where that came from, right? Anybody old enough to remember that movie? I was always a show me the money type of person. I am still a show me the money that type of person. They know I do not play when it comes to my money. because I work by a plan. I don't take anything personal. Anybody that knows me in education or finance or whatever, they're like, yeah, Cynthia, she'll show me the money type of person. You show her the money, she'll do the work. Why? Is it because I just love money? No, because it's because I have a plan. That's the only thing. That's my secret sauce. I have a plan for everything that I do. All right. So that's what you need to do. So, in doing those plans, maybe you don't really know. Like, let's go back to that example of you wanting to own your own business. I mean, if you said that you wanted to own your own business, maybe you don't even know if you have the temperament to own your own business, right? Because we all know that owning your own business does take a certain temperament, right? It does take a special kind of person to do well at owning their own business. It's one of the reasons why we want you to take a self assessment because we want you to get a sense of, is that something that you would be good at? Now, some of us already know. Maybe we've already worked in small business. Maybe we know we already have those leadership skills. We know we already have that discipline to do that, and that's great. But this test will help you to decide. Will help you to at least get a insight into what your personality is. Has anyone ever taken a personality test before? Right? So we kind of know what those things are, right? It kind of gives you some ideas of, oh, you'll be good at this, you should try that, yada, yada, yada. So, why are we wanting you to do that? Well, if you go back to what we talked about yesterday, that toolkit, right? We're trying to think through our future. One step is to say, okay, who am I? Okay, I want to own my own business. Is that something I would really even be good at? So we want you to start there. And then the next thing that we want you to do is to create two long term goals. But before you create those goals, we want to make sure that they're smart goals. And we're going to talk about that. What the self assessment is going to do is to help you at least know what your abilities are. It talks about things like aptitude. What is aptitude? Aptitude is something that you have a natural ability to do. I've always been good at numbers. Wasn't a big surprise that I went into finance. I've always been good at reading. I was one of those kids, I still remember being in first grade, maybe it was kindergarten, and I have a vivid memory of my library. How many people remember their library from kindergarten? I do, raising my hand. You know why? Because it was the best place on earth for me. Go ahead on, Isaac. That's all right. Yeah, let us shine. We love the library. We're proud. I loved the library. I was like, I cannot believe these people are giving me access to all this free information. And I'm still that way. I love the library. I have so many library cards. Florida has, you have the Florida State Library that you can actually rent books from if you wanted to. Yeah, you do. And I have books everywhere. You come to my house, books are everywhere. Why is that important? Look at me. What do I do now? I'm a teacher. I'm a researcher. I have too many degrees. None of it makes sense why I have these many degrees. It kind of does because it goes with my career. But how was I able to acquire it? I'm going to tell you right now because I just love to read. Just nonsense. I just read everything. I'm the type of person that will open up the book and I read the front page and I read the back page. Don't ask me why. I just want to know what it says. Not sure why I do that, but it was something I was natural at. So it came as no surprise to me when I fell into education, when I fell into law, when I fell into teaching. Duh, big thing because I love to read. Now, you may have something that you are naturally good at as well, something that you have a natural ability to do that falls into, your ability to do something, like your natural ability to do something. Like my daughter, let me tell you right now, yeah, I played softball, but the ball hit me more than I caught it. I don't have good hand-eye coordination. My daughter, you can throw her something across the room, she's not even looking at you, and it's creepy what her reflexes are. She'll turn around, grab it like nothing happened. She tries to throw it back at me. I think it's mother abuse because I get hit. I don't catch it. I never catch it. I wear glasses. That's the excuse I'm going to use. I have horrible hand eye coordination. Don't throw anything at me because I'm going to run. She has a natural ability to do it. I don't. It's not something I can do very, very well, but that's all right. but you have natural abilities. Why are they important? Because it will contribute to how well you do something. You need to evaluate yourself. Like I told you before, this class is all about you. Sometimes we don't want to do that work. Have you ever thought about it? Maybe you say, well, what if I don't know what my skills are? Well, check this out. Sometimes it can be as simple as what you get complimented on. Have you ever been complimented on something? Has anybody ever said to you, you know, you're good at this? And you're like, anybody ever been like that? Isaac, anybody want to share what someone's told them that they're good at? Like for me, I'm tell you, even as a child, you know what they used to tell me all the time? They used to say, Cynthia, clock out. I didn't even know what that meant because I never had a job. What they were saying is, what I learned later is I was always trying to teach somebody something. Like if I felt like someone didn't understand, I would be, let me tell you, the only thing they're trying to say is this, this, and this, and this. And they would be like, nobody asked you. You're always trying to explain something to people. I used to always be told that way before I ever became a teacher. Anybody ever been told they have a skill or they're good at something? You want to share with us? And you're probably thinking, well, how do I make that into my career? How do I parlay that into helping me with my career? Right? Not all of us have natural, obvious, skills like singing or being a good artist, right? Some of us have to really think through what if my skill is I'm a really good organizer? What if my skill is I'm a good leader, right? That is a skill, right? Not everybody has a natural ability to lead. And you just have to figure out how do I use that to my advantage, right? And that's one thing that the test will help us do. Now, of course, your personality, my friends, your personality is also very important, is it not? I know there's so many of us that wish we can tell people if you are not a people person, if you are not a people person, you may want to think through the type of work that you do when it comes to people. Is that not the case? Now I'm going to tell you, it may come as a surprise to you, but I am an introvert. What? You're an introvert? Why do you teach? I can teach all day. You know why? Because I am relaying information. And as long as I am relaying information, I can talk. Now, after school, I don't talk to anybody. Can you believe it? Because I'm the type of person that if I don't have anything to say or anything I feel people need to hear, I don't talk. Anybody else like that? There are some people that are very extroverted, right? But as soon as they go home, they become the big introverts because they need people to have energy. I'm the complete opposite. I had to learn the type of work that made sense for me. When I wanted to start my own business, I was in my careers and my career changed a lot. I thought I wanted to be a doctor. I volunteered at the hospital and I learned that I don't want to be a doctor. I had to volunteer at the hospital. I can't take the smell of hospitals. But a lot of my family members were in medical, so I just assumed that is where I was supposed to be. But I realized that I do well in education. I fell into education. You know how I got into education? I was minding my own business. Gotten out of the military, working in finance. I had to go to a conference and I had to be at one of those tables. Y'all know how they do. And people were coming to my table and I was just talking to them about the company and someone from a university walked over because they had a table. And the person said, have you ever thought about education? I said, I have absolutely not thought about education because it did not go with my financial plan. I wanted a lot of money and education wasn't it, right? So I was like, no, ma'am, I have not. And she goes, I think that you would make a great educator. And that is how I began my education career. I recruited for it. I got it. They loved me. And 19 years later, I've been teaching. Now, I've always taught as a practitioner, which means that I've had my day job and I've always taught, but I've always done that. But I fell into that because somebody looked at me and said, I think you make a great educator. You is going to be important for you to know, right? Because we're not always going to have somebody that is going to watch us perform and say, you know what, you make a great this or you make a great that. So you have to really understand and kind of figure out how are you going to use your own abilities to help you be successful. If you're going to start your own business, and let's say you want to go into residential, what is it about you that is going to help you? What can help you? What type of skills do you have that can help you? If your personality is not one that likes to deal with customers, maybe you should go commercial. Maybe you should do something where you don't have to deal with people, or make sure that you have enough staff members that you don't have to deal with that. Maybe you don't like the marketing piece of it, right? So your personality will be key. Your values are also important, right? Maybe you're working for a company. Now, none of us are in the VA field, so I'll talk about that. But, people that are in the veterinary field, maybe you may have a problem with having to euthanize an animal. Maybe you may have a problem with having to administer a certain type of medicine because you don't agree with it, right? So, what is your value system? You may or may not run across that in your fields. I know I worked for DR Horton for a while. Anybody know DR Horton? They're a builder, right? And let me tell you something. I probably shouldn't tell you this. I don't know if anybody's ever purchased a home from DR Horton, but don't. Don't. Let me tell you that the corners that I witnessed this builder do, I'm not going to discuss, but I know I would not want the home, right? And I was like, oh my goodness, this place is questionable. So, I did not stay there for long, but I definitely had a problem with it. I was on the sales team, and y'all know how when they build homes, sometimes, they have these deadlines and they got to get the people in the homes. They literally would ask the salespeople to take off our little high heels and run down to the house and help them finish up, help them paint and help them do stuff. I'm like, I'm not on the construction team. I don't know if you were building a house, would you want the salespeople helping to finish your house out? Anybody would have a problem with that? Raise your hand if you would have a problem knowing that me, the salesperson, was helping to fix your house up at the last minute. You might want to have a little problem with that, right, Rosanna? Like, ma'am, what do you know about that? I'm gonna tell you right now, nothing. Nothing, but I wanted to keep my job, so I did what I was supposed to do, right? But for me, I had an issue with that. I didn't think that was what you should be doing, but whatever. So when it comes to your skills, even companies, right? So let's go back to us wanting to become a master electrician before we start our own business. We want to become a master electrician within 6 years. So that means that the first 6 years we're going to be working for someone. Know, my friends, that even though you are always trying to say, okay, how can my skills help me in my career? Companies are doing the same thing for the jobs that they're hiring for. They are also saying, I want these type of skills from these type of people, right? Of course, they want your technical skills, which we call hard skills. You'll read about that in chapter 1. But they also want soft skills. Those are those transferable skills, those personal skills that help to build teams. So in chapter 1, you'll see that yes, companies are interested in your hard skills. You're interested in it as well because it's going to help you build your business. But obviously, they're also interested in it. When you read job descriptions, which we'll do on Thursday, you'll see these people want to make sure that you have technical skills. They want to make sure you know how to do electrical work. I think that goes without saying, right? But guess what? They also want you to have soft skills. You may or may not have ever noticed. Has anyone ever noticed that when they read a job description, they always have the technical skills at the top and then they have soft skills underneath? Anybody ever notice that? Well, obviously they put them in that order. Isaac, you have, because those are the main skills they want you to have, those technical skills, but do not just gloss over the soft skills. Sometimes the soft skills are telling you the type of company you're going to work for. If this company has taken the time to put it in the job description, they are trying to tell you something. I know for me, if I saw words like, we need you to have motivation, patience, and problem solving skills, that may be a little flag for me to say, what type of job is this? Or why they want me to have so much patience and motivation? I'm going to pay a lot of attention to what they're talking about when I go to that interview, if I make it, because I need to understand, why do I need to be so patient? Maybe it has something to do with you working on a project team. Let's go back to me working at DR Horton, and we have a lot of tight deadlines, and sometimes you have to run and do somebody else's job. Oh, That makes sense now. You get my point? Is that something you like to do? Maybe you don't like working in environments where you have to be so reactive. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't. I don't. I do not like working in reactive environments. I like working in proactive environments. Have you ever thought about how you like to work? Right? I'll tell you right now, in business, sometimes you will have to let clients go. I had to let a client go. I had to let a client go recently. You mean to tell me, Miss Taylor, you just let go money? I sure did. Why would you do that? Because I know myself. I know myself. And if I tell a client, listen, I work off deliverables, I'm a writer, I'm a contractor, I'm a consultant. And if I tell you, my friend, if you want me to work with you, I work off deliverables. I like being proactive. Do not give me fire rounds. Do not give me unexpected things and expect me to, react to them. I have other things to do. I have other deadlines. And if you do that, I am going to respectfully tell you maybe this is not the right fit for us. Let's have a conversation about it. Or you need to find someone else that is better suited for your environment. I do it all the time. Trust me. You could ask. I refer clients out to people all the time. You know what? Let me give you so and so's number. Maybe that would be a better fit for you. Why in the world would you do that? That's money. I know it's money, but I also know myself. I know the type of environments that I thrive in. I do not thrive in environments that are reactive. It makes me freeze up. Why is that? Because I'm visual. I need to be able to visualize what's happening in front of me. If I can't visualize it, then I'm going to freeze until I figure out what to do. I can't react fast that way because I'm an analytical person. I'm very logistical in my thoughts. You need to know who you are. I do better in the science lab. I do better in education. I do better in things that I can plan my steps out. Because if I can plan something out and I can see it, I can execute. If you call me on Monday saying, "Hey, here's another project that I know you didn't think about and didn't know that you were going to have to do and I need it by Wednesday." No, I'm gonna turn in my resignation. And I'm saying that because I'm talking about the type of work that I do. It would be very, very stressful. But I've had to learn myself. Now, obviously, when I was in my 20s, didn't have the ability to do that. But as I got into my career, why is it important to know yourself? Because you will fail, and you will fail thinking that you're doing something wrong, and it's just not who you are. Does that make sense? Right now, if somebody said to you, "I need you to go be a teacher," some of you would do great, and some of you would not do great. Does that mean that you're bad? No, that means that's just not your calling. That's not who you are. It's important to know who you are because if you align yourself with your natural abilities, you will always succeed. Have you ever heard that before? If you can align yourself with your natural abilities, you will succeed. It is the truth. It is the truth. There will be trial and errors. I've had to let jobs go. I've had to switch careers because there's some things I'm just not, it doesn't work well with who I am. It doesn't mean that I'm a failure. It means that I had to realign myself. So I want you to think about that as you're in your career. Chapter one talks about technical skills. Those are basic things for as far as you guys are concerned. Not to, but let me be clear. Yes, I do know that the electrical industry is really moving towards a lot of technical stuff, right? You guys are using a lot of technical gadgets. Am I right about that? Give me a thumbs up if your field is becoming more technically inclined for the better, I hope, right? For the better because it's helping you guys be more efficient, right? Right. I know, if you listen to the news, they have all these negative thoughts about, IT, but it's designed to be more efficient. If not, we still be riding horses and buggies, right? So you need to have improvements to make life more efficient. So most of the technology you will see in your technical skills, but other other stuff like computer skills and stuff that I'm sure you'll need. But let's get into the heart of what you will be doing for tomorrow, and we'll discuss this a little bit more. Today, you're just going to take your personality test and you will be working with career services. I really want you to pay attention. If you're on campus now, I think most of you guys are, make sure that you start to work with career services. I think Ms. Tiller is your career services person. You need to set up 2 appointments, but we'll get to that in a minute. Tomorrow, you will be setting up your long-term goals. And I wanted to talk to you briefly about that. What does that mean? And like I said, you can totally use mine if you want, but I want 2 long-term career goals from you. Chapter 1 just talks about goals in general. Please do not read chapter 1 and come back to me and say, my goal is to lose 100 pounds. Listen, I know chapter 1 is very vague, but we're doing career goals here, so please do not write personal goals in it. I always get someone that gives me personal goals. I want to buy a house. Okay, that's very nice. And one day you will do that. But I want career goals, right? So I want to make sure that the 2 career goals that you give me pass what we call the SMART test. And all that means is that they have and let's look at it together, very specific, very measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals. So that goal needs to be very specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. How do I do that, Ms. Taylor? Well, let's take the example I just gave. And like I said, feel free to use it. The example I gave was I want to become a master electrician in 6 years. My goal is to become a master electrician in 6 years. My second goal is to own my own business, right? My second goal or my secondary goal, and I only say that because I need to become a master electrician first, is to own my own business within 10 years. So between 6 and 10, I want to be able to own my own business. How do I make sure that both of those goals are SMART? Well, let me go through this acronym to make sure that they are. Would we all agree, give me a thumbs up, that both of those goals are specific? Did I state what I want? Yes, I did. Are they measurable? Did I have any target date on it? Yes, I did. Thank you very much. Now, here's one that I really need your feedback on. Are they attainable? Is that a pipe dream or can I do that? Can I make it happen? I can make it happen? Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks for believing in me. So I can become a master electrician within 6 years and start my own business within 10. Coming from the experts, they said I can, so I believe I can. Now, is it timely? Well, I put a date on it, so it's definitely, I gave a time frame, right? I did not say one day when I grow up, I want to be successful. When I grow up, I want to own my own business. Miss Taylor did not ask for a dream. I asked you for a goal. In order to turn your dreams into goals, they need to be SMART. And SMART is an acronym, not an adjective. So I'm not saying that there's is the answer is opposite of dumb, right? It is a SMART goal, means it passed the SMART test. Do you think you can do it? Can you give me 2 SMART goals by tomorrow? Long-term goals. It cannot be I hope to graduate. No, 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 no. That's going to be a short-term goal. We'll talk about that in week 3. Right? Yes? We agree? Sounds good? Thank you. Now, here's what we're going to do for today. So what we're going to do, continue to read chapter 1. It's going to talk a little bit about career ladders and career lattices that will be on your midterm. So make sure that you read that. All right? So you're going to take your personality test today. In that test, this example, I literally copied and pasted from the assignment. Just make sure you read it. After you take the test, it's going to say click here, come back, and answer what was your results. What are they? Include them, the test scores, and tell me if you agree with it. So give me a little bit of information about what your test said. You know, it give you some little A, B, C, D, E, F, G, letters. and then tell me if you agree with what it says, right? The other thing that you'll be doing tomorrow is your long term goals, but I want you to start practicing on that. What you'll also be doing today is setting up your two appointments. So the career goals you don't have to do till tomorrow. But the other assignment you're doing today is setting up your appointments, your resume, and your mock interview with career services. So all I need is a time. All I need is a time. You guys will be working with career services. You guys all know who she is? Miss Tiller? I think it's Tiller, right? Quillen? All right. So she already knows what you have to do. Maybe she's already engaged with you. Once you get that time from her, even if you don't get it tonight because you guys are in the night class, so clearly maybe you don't have to do it tonight. Go to her, get that time and date, come back to this assignment, and put my mock interview time is this time and date. My resume review time is this time and date. That's all you have to do. You have until Sunday to turn in that date and time. All right?
We have those times already. She gave it to us on Monday.
Oh, okay. I know. See, I already knew ATA was on the ball. They don't play down there. I already knew y'all was on the ball. So just put it in there. You're done.
No, sorry. So I get this clear. Where did you need me to post this at?
It's in the assignment. So when you go to the assignment for today, right? When you go to the assignment for today, it says
Career
scheduling with
plan.
career services. You open it up and put those two times in there.
Oh, that's for tomorrow. Okay, I see it.
Is it for tomorrow? That's
It
for
says
today.
Wednesday.
Okay, I'm getting it backwards. Okay, that is for tomorrow. All right. I think what I did was in my morning class I switched the assignments, but they're the same. All right. So
Th-
do that for tomorrow. So that means your long term goals are for today, then, right? Let me just go back and see. Yep, yep. So your long-term goals are for today. All right, very good. So yours was done right. I switched the ones for this morning, but the ones for you guys was right. So go ahead and do the long-term goals today, and those scheduling the time, you'll put those in for tomorrow. I mean, you could put it in today too, because remember, everything is open. So she already gave it to you. Go ahead and plop it in there. That's one less assignment you have to do for tomorrow. If you need a little bit more time to think about what your long-term goals are because you want to do a little bit of research, don't feel pressured to get it done tonight. If you're pretty comfortable with what you want to put in there, go ahead and do it. Okay? Here's your question for today. Here's what I want to know. I want you to list 3 technical skills, or i.e. hard skills. When you read chapter 1, you'll see technical and hard. We use those words interchangeably. 3 technical skills that you feel you have or you will have from as an electrician. 3. And then what I want you to give me is 3 soft skills that you personally have. Personally, you have. Maybe you already know I have good motivation. I'm very flexible. I have good time management. If you don't remember what those soft skills are, you can just go to chapter 1. There's a whole list of them in there. All right. So in total, I need 6. Give me 3 hard skills that you think you currently have or you're acquiring, and then 3 soft skills that are unique to you. That is your question for today. Please make sure that you get that turned in by 10 o'clock. All right. All right, my friends. Thank you for your time. I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too, sir. Bye bye. Go ahead, Andre. I'm just going to stop the recording.